Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are honored to have Dr. Luigi DiRubba joining us again. He's a chiropractor at Central Connecticut Chiropractic, based out of Cheshire, Connecticut, and he's back with us today to talk more about the amazing care that he offers and really using the whole person approach when it comes to healing and wellness. And I know Dr. Luigi has some great topics for us today. We're going to talk about 15 signs of an unhealthy spine and your state, I should say. So let's get a warm welcome first for our friend. How are you doing today, Doc?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. We got some snow. How about you?
Yes, we're actually still it's still coming down, and we got some freezing rain coming along this afternoon. So, another wonderful snowy New England day.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? We deal with the cold. Might as well have some snow. I'm with you. I'm happy for this one. But I hope everyone's safe and sound. And as a doctor, obviously, you're open today. Or do you have any issues with with closures up there? Is it that bad?
No, not that bad.
Okay.
We have patients still scheduled for this.
Great. And how do we contact you if someone does want to reach out?
They can either contact our office, 203-272-3239, or they can check out the website, CheshireChiropractic.com, and schedule an appointment online.
Beautiful. And for those who may be new to who you are and what your company offers, would you mind just giving us a little overview and insight as to the way that you can help people?
Central Connecticut Chiropractic in Cheshire, Connecticut, just outside of New Haven area. Been here 32 years in practice. Been taking care of many families, infants, adults, seniors, sports athletes, personal injury cases. Just focusing on getting people back to functioning status and healthy and keeping that way.
Beautiful. Well, I know I have some different topics for today. Are we talking about cold and flus? Are we talking about the spine? Which area of focus did you want to kind of start for today?
Actually, cold and flus during this time of the year, the cold season. We see it all the time. Everybody, the neglect on the body, and then worrying about the symptoms that they're experiencing, the fever, the chills, the possible sinus issues involved.
Mm-hmm.
What I just try to stress to my patients is, first and foremost, let's get back to changing a little bit of the lifestyle, eating healthier, water intake, get the physical activity, the exercise, get your spine checked, mainly because your nervous system regulates your immune system. And so when your body's fatigued and weak, your nervous system gets overtaxed, and it affects your hormones, it affects your biochemistry. So I try to give them all the little basics on lifestyle changes that they need to make, and people do very, very well. I sent you the article that I just had recently put together in the office. It's called "How to Catch a Cold or the Flu," and so I give you all the wrong reasons. There's I think 8 reasons here on how to do it. 1, make sure you eat a poor diet. 2, avoid adequate rest. 3, stop exercising. 4, rarely wash your hands. 5, think negative thoughts. 6, invite stress into your life. 7, become dehydrated. And 8, forget your chiropractic appointment. Because, hey, if everything else is failing, why not just let even the structure of your body fail also? And as we know, it's just a way to get people to kind of think a little bit differently. That's all.
Got it. So hold on. What about the myth of, going outside with no jacket? Does that cause the flu or a cold?
No, it doesn't cause it, but it does. If your body is weak, it does put stress on your immune system, because the temperature changes going from hot to cold is really the problem. It's really not the cold to hot. You hear it all the time. People coming back from vacation from a warm climate area. They go from a warm climate to a cold climate, and the body's metabolism has to kick up to maintain body temperature. And if you're not in good physical health because of nutrition and physical activity and all that, you're definitely going to get the cold and flu-like symptoms.
See, I thought it was all the germs on the airplane coming home that are probably circulating amongst us.
Well,
Possibility,
that also,
right?
Right. That also, because your immune system gets taxed, for sure. It's not there. There's never really one reason. It's a cumulative factor of all the things that are going on in life.
Got it. Well, did you also want to share, ways to improve our immune system as well?
Well, I always stress to patients, especially if you're in a work environment, not just office workers. I tell them, when you take your 5 minute break, there's nothing wrong with getting your coworker to join in. Throw out 20 jumping jacks or a couple of push-ups off of a chair, or even wall push-ups or squats. By the end of the day, if you took 2 to 3 5 minute breaks and everybody's joining in, you'd be surprised how much you accomplish just with physical activity. Because we sit a lot, a lot of desk workers. Water intake becomes limited. So have your glass there with a good 16 to 20 ounces, and make sure you're getting in at least half your body weight in ounces of water. That's very helpful.
Well, also, this is the time of year, right? When, people's immune systems are weakened. Is there more germs in the air in the winter? Let me just figure this part out, because I feel like a lot of us get more colds or sick in the winter. Is there any correlation with that, Doc?
Actually, there's not more germs outside, but they're more inside our homes. So we call it sick house syndrome. What
Oh,
happens is, the dry air from the constant heat running, windows are closed, we're not getting fresh air in the home, gets a little bit more dusty. So what ends up happening is that we're actually breathing in a lot of the dust into our bodies, especially if you're homebound, either working at home or working in an office environment. So instead of getting outside, you're cooped up, and that's how you really end up, getting sicker. You end up exposed to more germs.
like, okay, my son is just turned 8 on Monday. He was home the next day, sick with a cold. I didn't take him to the doctor. He didn't have a fever till nighttime, but sniffly, running nose. So this morning, I did all the sheets. Does that really matter? I mean, what
Sure.
really kills the germs in the house? Do I spray Lysol on everything, or is that just a myth?
No, air out the home. Make sure you're constantly, getting dust. You can't get everything, but even a crack of the window, getting some fresh air in the home makes a huge difference. It makes a
Interesting.
big difference.
All right. What else did you want to discuss for us today, Dr. DiRubba? Thank
Well,
you so
a,
much.
a great way, the 15 signs, just a couple of signs, just to check on how your body's structural posture. Look at yourself in the mirror. Take your shirt off. Look in the mirror, and try to stand as straight as possible with your feet shoulder width apart, relaxed position with your arms down. And you look at your posture. If you have a head tilt, if you tend to notice that you have a head rotation, a head and neck rotation, shoulders uneven, one arm seems to be longer than the other, or one arm spaced away from your body, your torso, more than the other. That's probably signs that you have spinal misalignments that have been affecting your nervous system and how your organs function. So I usually do that a little simple test in the office, and then I go proceed with further. So you could do this at home. Even checking your children's posture makes a big difference.
Interesting. I can't show you now. It's hard, but I do have my right shoulder is down more. Is it from years of carrying my backpack, my pocketbook? And if you look at me straight, if I had my shoulders were showing, you would see that it's like this. I feel like I'm permanently stuck that way now.
Right. So and it's really not the shoulder that's
Oh,
how can I say the shoulder that's the problem. It's what's the shoulders attached to. The shoulders attached to what? Your torso. Your torso is attached to the spine. The spine ends up compensating and causing these curvature patterns.
oh.
And that's where the weakness starts. So now you have the spinal rotation that occurs, and now you're constantly walking with that shoulder down because you've adapted to it.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
So
And what are some of the things
that's
that
why
you
we
could do to help that?
and that's why we do a posture evaluation, we do exam procedures, and we take diagnostic X-rays if needed. MRI, CAT scans. We do a posture analysis and also a gait scan with seeing how you're walking to determine where the misalignments are and what we need to start doing to start correcting that imbalances in your body.
Interesting. Thank you for that. See, I'm learning something new here too, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are as well. I want to remind you who we're speaking with, and of course, how you can reach out to Dr. DiRubba himself. Would you mind sharing once again all that information?
Yeah, yes. Central Connecticut Chiropractic, CheshireChiropractic.com. Telephone number is 203-272-3239. And we're here to help you. And if you're not located in my area and it's too far, we'll also find you a referral that's closer, a doctor in your area.
Great. Well, let's look at some more of the signs of an unhealthy spine. And you mentioned your heels wear out unevenly on your shoes. Could you share a little bit about that one?
Correct. A great way to check your unevenness of wear and tear on your shoes is have your family member lay down on the bed.
Okay.
Evenly, and then you check the bottom of the shoes. You can check the leg length of that person, and also check the wear and tear of their shoes. And you'll see, if they're scuffing on one side more than the other, it's probably a pelvic involvement.
Okay.
If one leg is shorter than the other, it could be either a neck issue that's causing it, or actually a sacral problem, which is your base of your spine.
Interesting.
And unless someone has a fracture, which could cause a leg length inequality, but you would know that ahead of time. That's why we do a thorough history with patients.
And do you there in-house have your own like X-ray machine, or what do you, it may be a naive question, but do you send people out for those types of tests first to see?
Oh no, we take in-house X-rays. We do a full evaluation, take X-rays in our office, do computerized thermography, which is a nerve test. And then we also do what they call EMG testing, which is surface EMG. We check the muscular imbalances of your body to see how your adjustments, where you are at baseline, and as you start getting adjusted, how much progress you're making.
Interesting. All right. Well, also looking at the sheet you sent, I'm able to go over this with him. There's also something that you mentioned about breathing. Breathing could become difficult for someone. That could be another red flag, right?
Yes. When you have spinal misalignments, and especially in the thoracic area, which is your mid-back, it changes the dynamics in how your ribs move. But also those nerves that exit those spinal levels also regulate your respiratory system. So now, your body slowly starts declining on how much volume your lungs are taking in. So your inhalation and exhalation is actually changed, and you don't notice it because it becomes incremental over time. It's just like someone who has a neck injury.
Okay.
They were perfect, let's say, before the injury, and they were able to turn their head all the way to their shoulder. But because of the injury, slowly the body adapted and said, I don't feel anything.
What about jaw clicks?
Jaw clicks are mainly involving the upper neck region.
Okay.
When the alignments of the neck and the head and skull bones are actually misaligned, it causes the jaw to deviate. So it could develop also some dental issues. We work well with dentists in the area that refers a lot of TMJ patients.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And what about this crack in the neck, like my son has? Oh gosh, it's horrible.
Well, as we mentioned on the last call, what ends up happening is that there's weaknesses in the neck. So some of the vertebrae bone structures of the spine are overcompensating for the weak ones. So that's why he feels good when he does that, because those other ones are working so hard. He's releasing that pressure.
And, you mentioned that, what about those that can't twist, turn? Obviously, there's an issue there, right?
Yes. When a person has what we call spinal subluxations, misalignments of the spine,
okay,
body has to adapt. So there's a lot of nerve pressure that occurs. Organs don't function to the best of ability. Your immune system gets compromised. Muscles and ligaments start working against each other, and slowly your body's function starts declining. So things that were a simple task, like reaching for something in a cabinet, gets a little harder because your body's mechanics are off. That's why a lot of athletes get adjusted on a regular basis, because it keeps them in line, keeps them balanced, and they also notice that their reaction time is so much better. And we notice it, especially with seniors. They love getting adjusted because what they've lost over time, they start regaining while they're under chiropractic care.
Interesting. And, there's still plenty more signs out there that maybe you're in need of an adjustment or something even more, right? You mentioned fatigue, fluish type symptoms, which is what we talked about when, we started the show about colds and all. And of course, 'tis the season in a sense. But what if you're often very sick? Always sick. I mean, and do we say we have a weak immune system, or could there be something also going on with our spine?
Well, yes, and glad you mentioned that. Your immune system is regulated by your nervous system. So when we start seeing a person with chronic illnesses, we start taking a look at first their lifestyle issues that are, maybe triggering these factors. Then we start incorporating the chiropractic care. We start addressing some of those factors, and they start noticing that their immunity starts changing. It takes time. It took you this long to get this bad. It's going to take a little bit of time to start changing, but if you follow the right course that the doctors put together for you, you start seeing some amazing changes. I've had patients that have been with me 32 years since day one. They get adjusted on a regular basis. Why? They're not waiting for a problem to start developing. And when they do have, let's say, a cold or sniffle or a digestive issue or a respiratory problem, when they get adjusted regularly, or let's say they need additional care, they recover faster because their body's and immune system is a lot stronger than it was previously.
All right. And then I know some people that do have, it seems that one leg is shorter than the other. They're wearing special shoes. Is that, because their legs are not, fully, the same exact developed? Or is it because there could be issues with their spine as well?
If the person has not, how could I say, experienced a fracture that caused the leg length inequality, majority of the time it's either a spinal problem that's causing the deviation in the body, or it's a pelvic involvement, which changes the dynamics of the leg length. So once we start adjusting, we take an exam, we take x-rays, and we start adjusting these patients. They start noticing the differences in their leg length. Number one, they feel like, wow, my leg feels like it's getting longer because I'm standing straighter. I don't have to lean into one side while I'm working or doing something. And then they start noticing the changes and also their shoes, because they're not wearing them out unevenly as previously. So that's why I always recommend when they start care, I would say, get a brand new pair of sneakers, and let's use this as our so-called baseline.
Test. Yeah. Interesting. Well, let me just ask you another question. I remember back in the days of elementary school, I'm not sure if they still do this, but the school nurse would always test us for scoliosis. I remember bending over. What is scoliosis to begin with? Would you mind just sharing what that is? And I'm sure treatments has advanced over the years.
Yes, scoliosis is an extreme curvature to one side or the other, depending on the region of your mid-back or your lower. And if it's when it's done in schools, and it has to be so grossly, how can I say it, visible for a nurse to pick it up. What my job is as a chiropractor, I tell parents, get your child checked much earlier than, fourth grade. They should be getting checked at a very young age once they start walking, because that's when you start really picking it up at a very incremental stage.
Okay.
And you can prevent it from worse right there. By the time fourth or fifth grade it's picked up, then the curvature's gotten pretty bad already.
Interesting.
Or it has to be so visible that's when they take x-rays. Well, it's kind of a little bit too late. Now it's more of crisis care instead of being proactive with it.
Interesting.
And avoids bracing, avoids, intensive procedures. I have children that have been getting adjusted since they were born, and or were checked very early on. They had slight curvatures, and once we started adjusting them, either halted in its progression or it's actually improved dramatically.
Wow. And let me ask you, but there is still hope for people who don't know they have it until they're a little older?
Some people don't know that they have it. When we start taking x-rays on patients and we see these extreme curvatures, and we ask, have you ever been diagnosed with scoliosis, or have had someone mentioned that you have a curvature issue? Some people are very surprised when they see their x-rays.
Wow. Interesting. You know what? I'm looking now. I was like, okay, how far is Cheshire? Maybe I should take my son to you. I wonder, because I'm on Long Island. I'm like, probably like a 2 hour drive. I got to look at that. But because it's good to talk to someone you trust, right? And you're not that far away. But it's so interesting. And some people, though, go through life without even caring about their spine, right? And never going to a chiropractor. What would you say to someone in the situation?
For me, it's very difficult because I've been under care since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I look at, you don't go to a chiropractor?
What?
How could you not? It should be a normal thing. It keeps you healthy. I utilize it for myself, and I promote it in my practice because I've seen the benefits on patients over the 32 years. Those who start getting adjusted on a regular basis and keep chiropractic as part of their so-called integral part of their healthcare live healthier. They tend to be on a healthier lifestyle. There's been plenty of studies that show that even they've done studies on seniors showing that those that incorporate chiropractic into their lifestyle utilize less medication and have less hospitalization involvement. So that in itself is a big plus. Workman's comp cases, we get workers back to work a lot quicker than any other healthcare profession. Our safety record is impeccable. We have the lowest malpractice of any healthcare provider because we're not invasive. What we're looking at is working with the person's physiology and improving from there, not trying to put something in, but really taking something away that's stressing the body.
Interesting. Thank you so much. All right. So if someone wants to reach out to you, would you mind sharing how we do so? And great speaking with you. It goes so fast. We've been on for 25 minutes already. Well, on and off.
Yes.
But we do have to unfortunately wrap up the show. So share again all the ways we can reach out to you, Doc. Thank you.
Yes, CheshireChiropractic.com, which is our website. They can sign up for our newsletter, and if they have any questions, they can email us directly. They can schedule an appointment online also, and then they could also call the conventional way, which I tend to be a little old school. I like the phone, 203-272-3239. And if you're not in our area, we can find you a practitioner that's a little bit closer for you, and also provide you with any literature and information that you may need.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. You have a fantastic day, and stay warm, stay dry. Best of luck driving, and we'll talk soon, okay?
You also. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you
great
again.
day.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.